All right, thank you.
We're ready to start?
Ready to start?
Okay. Good morning. Or afternoon. Hope you're all staying dry. At this, I'd like to call the Technology Committee in session. So if I can direct your attention to the agenda. And just for reference, who do we have there at AQMD?
Wade Robinson.
Larry McCallum.
Judy Mitchell.
Sheila Kuehl.
Fantastic. And then Supervisor Rutherford.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you? Okay, so with that, colleagues, let's turn to the agenda. Unless you'd like to hold these items, I'd like to call items 3 and 4 on consent, and here items 1, 2, and 5. So,
Mr. Chairman, I need to recuse myself from item number 3 because of a financial interest in Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad Company that is materially affected by this item. And I was instructed by the legal staff that I don't need to leave the room, but I'm recusing myself on the item.
very good. Thank you, Councilman. Any other recusals? Hearing none, let us then approve item 3 and 4 on consent. And let's now take, without objection, let's take item number 1.
I'm sorry, Mr. Buscaino.
Yes,
I do want to talk about item 3 a bit. It won't take long. I'll leave it at your discretion when you.
no problem. We'll hold item 3 on the desk
Thank you.
and then let's take item 4 on consent and we'll approve item number 4. Okay, so with that, item number 1.
I think we need a roll call. Mr. Chair, we need a motion.
Roll call, sorry. Roll call on item number 4.
I'll move the consent item.
I'll second it.
Now roll call.
Supervisor Kuehl,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem McCallum,
Yes.
Councilmember Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilmember Robinson.
Aye.
Supervisor Rutherford.
Aye.
Councilmember Buscaino.
Aye.
Motion passes 6 ayes.
Thank you. Item number 1.
Okay, my item today is to execute a contract to develop and demonstrate electric school buses with vehicle-to-grid capabilities. Some background here, Bluebird, North America is probably one of the leading bus manufacturers in the U.S. They have approximately 30% of the market for school buses, and they are actively pursuing developing electric school buses. Previously, we have a project now that is providing 2 vehicle-to-grid electric school buses for the Torrance Unified School District. These buses are developed by TransPower, co-funded by the CEC and the South Coast, and they will be deployed in Torrance once they get their interconnection agreement with Edison. And then Bluebird applied to the Department of Energy to develop and demonstrate electric school buses, and were awarded $4.9 million. In their proposal, they originally proposed to develop both Type C and D school buses, but after some recent discussions, because of the market demand for Type C, they decided that all buses in this project are going to be Type C. What's the difference? The difference is Type C is a smaller school bus, and also it can be made ADA compliant. So the school districts have more demand for that to meet those requirements. And also, these buses that they're developing will have vehicle-to-grid and vehicle-to-building capabilities, and I'll explain that, both of those. The electric drive and inverter that is being developed for Bluebird is through TransPower, which is a California company. They're located in Escondido. The vehicle-to-grid has potential for the school district to to create revenue by exporting power to the grid. Now, in the project that we have with Torrance Unified School District, there's 2 electric school buses there. And they calculate
Can you get my
NSI.
phone spray, please, on my desk? And then show my water bottle. 2 and 5. It's 2 and 5? Yeah. Phone and water bottle?
Mr. Chairman, you might want to mute.
Did you get your water bottle?
So, okay, so the potential for vehicle to grid is to add revenue or create revenue for these school districts. And the way they do that is by exporting power to the grid. Now, just as an example, in the project that we're working on now, they're calculating that the 2 buses at Torrance will provide $12,000 in cost savings. Now, there's 3 different ways that that's going to occur. One is by changing their time of use rate because they have a generating source on site. The other is the difference between electric fuel and CNG fuel cost savings there. And then the third one is this scenario here, when all the buses at the end of the school day come back to the yard, the CNG buses will be refueling and these buses will be plugged into the grid. And when the CNG buses refuel, the compressor comes on, and that causes a demand charge, okay, because of the high power level of that load. So what will happen is that the buses will, at that point, export power to the grid, shaving that peak, and thus saving them some significant dollars in peak demand charges.
Are these microgrids or are these just?
Just a local microgrid. Because everything in this, because they can't export power to the grid because it's still it's unregulated yet, so Edison will allow them to work what we call behind the meter. So everything within their own grid they can supply power to. Also, vehicle to building. Vehicle to building can support the microgrid, and also in emergency response situations where there's a power loss, they could use the buses to supply power to the local grid to help the facility with emergency power during those times of outages. In this project, there's going to be 12 buses that they're going to develop for this project. 4 of the buses are going to be used for engineering development and certification. That means they're going to crash test some of these buses and also do other types of certification testing on them. And then they will build, once they get certified, they will build 8 production buses. And these buses will be certified with CHP here in California, and then they will be placed into service in the Rialto Unified School District. And then also as part of this project, Bluebird will develop a market transformation plan. And this is to a plan of taking these buses not only to the California market, but to the whole market throughout North America, which includes Canada and Mexico. These are the project costs. As I mentioned, they were awarded by the DOE $4.9 million. TransPower is putting in a combination of cash and in-kind contributions of about 2.6. And then Rialto is contributing for the buses, $160K there, and also Bluebird some in-kind contribution as well as NSI. And they are requesting the South Coast to contribute $1.9 million, about 19% of the total project cost of $9.8 million. The recommended action is to execute the contract with Bluebird to develop, manufacture, and demonstrate these electric school buses in the amount not to exceed $1.9 million. And we're going to use the lower emission school bus fund.
Thank you. Colleagues, any question on item number 1?
Question from Judy Mitchell.
Go ahead, Judy.
So is the technology that they develop here for the school bus, it's transferable to other sectors? I assume.
It's just the school duty cycle makes it ideal for this because they're only on call during the morning and the afternoon, and then they're recharging or putting power back. So there's a kind of a set time frame at which they could be used.
And what would be the equivalent, say, in other sector, like, UPS or, some other sector? Is it the same kind of leader vehicle? I don't know what a school bus, how many liters it is.
It could be, so what Joe was saying, that the Type C is kind of the truck that has the engine in the front, right? So that it's a smaller school bus. So you could look for applications where that would occur, but you would want to have a fleet application where they domicile at a facility that has a microgrid that then you could deploy that. The schools typically require government funding to help offset the cost for new buses. And so by giving them a technology that gives them a revenue stream is a nice match of the technology to the need. And that's why we're looking at deploying it for schools.
But
But there could be other
It could
applications.
be for
where-
something like UPS, where they come back to a common parking area at night and they could all charge up. And then
Yes.
you could even charge up your building.
In fact, that was an issue when we deployed the UPS delivery trucks out in San Bernardino, where they were experiencing pretty high demand charges because of the charging. And so they were looking at different technologies.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chair, Larry McCallum,
Sir?
compared to a CNG bus, what is the NOx reduction? If we implement this electric bus compared to a CNG bus, what would be the NOx reduction that we're looking at?
Well, there is some NOx, because you got to account for the generated power for an electric bus. So there is some NOx as far as that is, but that's pretty much minimal in the NOx reduction. So it would be the amount of NOx that a CNG bus produces, because it is electric. And that would be the only, there is no tailpipe emissions. So the only emissions are if you went from well to wheel, then you
So I guess
would
my
have to
question is,
account for the generated
my
power.
question goes to, if you implement the entire bus fleet with electric compared to having CNG, what is your NOx reduction that you're going to accomplish, or are we going to accomplish anything?
Mayor McCallum, I can try to answer it a little bit. Right now, the natural gas school buses that we are offering to schools to replace older diesel buses, they are certified at 0.2 gram NOx. So basically, if you are comparing to the current natural gas, you will go from 0.2 gram to 0. If you replace the existing older pre-94 diesel buses with the electric school buses, of course, the reduction is more, because you go from 4.5 gram, 6 gram even, because we have even pre-87 school buses down to 0. So it depends what type of buses we replace, but compared to the current CNG, we go from 0.2 to 0.
So Mayor, maybe we can look at what those potential NOx reductions would be and give a range, report back to you.
But also one point is, these buses really will not replace the CNG ones. We will use them to replace diesel buses, Class C diesel buses that are in operation.
Thank you. Any other questions on this item? Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion to approve item number 1?
Motion to approve.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Kuhl,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem McCallum,
Yes,
Councilmember Mitchell,
Aye.
Councilmember Robinson,
Aye.
Supervisor Rutherford,
Aye.
Councilmember Buscaino.
Aye.
Motion passes 6 ayes.
Thank you. Moving forward, item number 2. We have Sangbom Ha to present.
Good afternoon. I'm Singbom Ha, air quality specialist in
Good afternoon.
Technology Advancement Office. So before getting started, I would like to introduce myself. I had been working at Argonne National Lab in Chicago, and I joined the AQMD in November last year. and I have an experience research for hybrid electric vehicle and fuel cell. And my specific research focus at Argonne was techno-economic modeling of batteries for electric vehicles. So this item today is requesting to execute a contract to demonstrate a heavy-duty plug-in hybrid heavy-duty vehicle for the work truck application. The existing development efforts on plug-in hybrid work truck have yielded developing new hybrid system module that can be installed on new or existing vehicles. These plug-in hybrid work truck features are critical to improve driving efficiency and electrify their operation at the work site. The work site of these trucks is typically close to residential area, so it causes localized pollution of the harmful exhaust and ambient noise from diesel engine. So eliminating idling at the work site through electrification will provide a huge benefit of minimizing localized exposure for residential community. The ODINE was recently awarded $2.9 million grant from DOE for further advancement of this technology. The initial project was developing plug-in hybrid medium heavy-duty truck with federal funding, and SCAQMD was a cost-sharing partner. The total 120 vehicles were successfully demonstrated. So the requested new project will build on development and the field experience by the previous project. And based upon the experience, it is targeting plug-in hybrid work truck with low vehicle mile travel and all-electric operation at the work site. So ODINE proposed to design, develop, and demonstrate a new generation of plug-in hybrid work truck. So they're gonna the project intend to increase the driving efficiency, and also at the work site with engine off, only electric power will operate the work site equipment such as bucket boom and crane and digger, etc. So this will reduce the emissions and offer much more quiet operation at the work site. In order to do that, this 3-year project will integrate 3 development streams into a final vehicle solution. So the daily duty cycle of these work truck varies significantly fleet to fleet, truck to truck, and day to day, and thus the vehicle efficiencies really depends on their system design. As an example, we drive Toyota Prius. We're gonna have more benefit of the fuel economy gain when we drive in downtown with many start and goes, because this system is designed more focusing on increasing the fuel economy of the city driving. So the simulation model will analyze these different duty cycles and allow increasing the fuel economy of the system by optimizing the hybrid powertrain system, which is combining diesel engine, electric motor, and transmission. So as a second stream, a modular battery system will be developed and validated using commercially available battery for the light-duty vehicles. So this project will actually use the same battery that is used in Chevy Bolt. So that enables cost reduction due to rapidly dropping battery cost from the light-duty sector. At the final step, overall components including advanced hybrid system, lower cost battery, and fully electrified equipment will be integrated through the cost-effective assembly. Followed by development, total 10 vehicles by Sempra, Duke Energy, and others will be demonstrated and monitored for 12 months, and the evaluated data will be provided as well. So by taking all these advantages, we are going to have the lower cost plug-in hybrid work truck with a significant reduction of emission, fuel consumption, as well as noise level. So in supporting of this project, Odyne has assembled a team with Allison Transmission and Freightliner for vehicle integration, and 2 national labs, including NREL and Oak Ridge, will provide technological support for simulation. And ABL, LG Chem will provide their optimized battery system. And 10 vehicles will be provided as an in-kind, and recommended fund from AQMD is $900,000, 13% of total project cost. So staff recommend execute a contract with Odyne for this project with $900,000 from Clean Fuel Fund. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleagues, any question on item 2? Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion to approve item number 2?
Move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, thank you. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Kuhl,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem McCallum,
Yes.
Councilmember Mitchell,
Aye.
Councilmember Robinson,
Aye.
Supervisor Rutherford,
Aye.
Councilmember Buscaino.
Aye.
Motion passes 6 ayes.
Thank you. We held item number 3 for Supervisor Rutherford for a question.
Thank you. This deals with air filters for schools. But I wanted to reference specifically at our last board meeting, we had some speakers from the neighborhood in San Bernardino that the NSF rail yards. And they have been in touch with me specifically about how we can get filters into homes around that neighborhood. And Wayne and I have had some conversations, and he's done a little bit of research on it. And I just wondered if there's an opportunity as we talk about an item like this to begin to explore how we help the homes. So we're concerned about the kids during school hours. They spend more time in the homes, and we ought to be able to find some way to help with filters in those homes.
Yes.
Yes. Agreed. I think the
Yeah.
challenge,
Good answer.
we can look for opportunities and funding sources. I know this is something that the district has done before, I believe in near Loma Village. And what we can do, Supervisor, is explore what some of those sources may be, and maybe we do small increments, or to whatever extent the funding allows, and develop a program that as that funding is either replenished or made available, we can move forward. Let us make some, let's do some research and provide some recommendations to you. And we can look.
That'd be great. I think there's about 2,700, 2,800 homes in the neighborhood that we'd be looking at, and I'd love to see a way to help them. Thank you.
Thank you. So I understand Councilmember Robinson needs to recuse himself on this item.
Correct. Move the item.
Second.
Thank you. We got a motion and a second. With that, roll call, please.
Supervisor Kuhl,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem McCallum,
Aye.
Councilmember Mitchell,
Aye.
Supervisor Rutherford,
Aye.
Councilmember Buscaino.
Aye.
Motion passes 5 ayes.
Thank you. Okay, with that, item number 5. And thank you. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, this is Naveen Berry, I'm the Technology Demonstration Manager, and I'll give an overview of our 2017 plan update and give some highlights of our 2016 annual report. So the California legislature, when they created the Clean Fuels Fund, required an annual report for the prior year and a plan update to be submitted to the legislature by the end of March that following year. We've gotten some feedback from this very committee and many others, and have incorporated a lot of those changes into our planned fund allocation as well as the report. And we plan on going with, after today's discussion and any subsequent changes, to our governing board in March and then submitting the report to the legislator by the end of March. Staff typically schedules 2 advisory committee meetings. One is a clean fuel advisory group, and the other one's a technology advancement advisory group, typically in the fall and the winter. And we seek feedback from our advisory group on projects. We give them an overview of what we accomplished, how that is integrated into our air quality management plans. And we've gone through that effort about a month ago, and then also about 4 months ago. And a lot of the changes that I'll highlight today take those comments into account. We do additional outreach at national meetings, the state meetings. We coordinate very closely with our local, state, and federal entities like ARB, the ports, utilities, as well as US EPA on a lot of the fund allocations and projects, and seek maximum leverage from the funds available from them as well. And as I indicated, staff has incorporated a lot of those changes from the advisory group, other experts, this committee into the draft plan. The first 4 items that are highlighted in like a blue, teal blue, are some of the core technology efforts. I have a full list that I'm not going to read through, but really our effort continues to focus on a broad range of core technologies that are covered under the Clean Fuels Plan, including fuel emission studies and others. As I indicated, staff continues to leverage these funds and maximize that leverage capability from EPA, from Department of Energy. As you heard earlier, 2 of the projects were a grant from DOE. California Energy Commission, mainly funds available under the Assembly Bill 8, and then also the Air Resources Board under the California Climate Initiative funds, or the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. So those are some of the larger leverage areas that we've managed to take advantage of. And staff was able to leverage about $49 million of this outside funding in 2016 from these key partners, and these were for zero emission drayage trucks, for on-road emissions testing, for ultra-low natural gas locomotives, and for the near-zero natural gas trucks, the larger 12-liter size. And then also replacement of older yard hostlers that run on LPG with electric yard hostlers, or also the EFMP, or Replace Your Ride program, where we provide funds to retire and replace older vehicles with plug-in hybrids or electric vehicles. The most notable was nearly the $24 million that was awarded by the California Resources Board to develop zero-emission drayage trucks, and then we leveraged that with $19 million from our sister agencies all throughout the state, the other APCDs and AQMDs, as well as private funding, and managed to get large truck OEMs as our primary contractors. And that's a really important aspect, because for further larger scale demonstrations and commercialization potential, it's really vital to get those OEMs involved. And this particular project that I'm referring to will result in 33 electric or hybrid electric trucks with all electric range, and they'll be deployed in Sacramento, San Joaquin, San Diego, Bay Area, and South Coast AQMD, of course. Last year, the program continued to meet its overall leveraging goals, which are about a 1-to-4 ratio. And we completed 66 contracts with a total cumulative project cost of about $189 million, which is about a 1-to-9 funding ratio. This is somewhat unusual, however, but we're going to continue to try to strive towards getting a higher leverage than the 1-to-4 that's been historically done for this area. Just some minor stats: 32 research, development, demonstration, deployment projects were initiated, 11 additional technology assessment and other types of projects were also closed. Again, the projects included a broad range of technologies. The technology committee heard many of those and approved our process for many of those, but again, they're for electric and plug-in hybrid electric technologies, natural gas engines, local biogas, production projects, hydrogen vehicles, and then refueling stations. as well that make up a big part of that overall effort.
Can
Sure.
I add something? The committee heard every single one of these projects, because this is a special fund, we have to come to committee and get board approval. So every project that's executed through this program, this committee hears and the board approves.
Thanks for the clarification, Matt. Also, and I'm emphasizing other core technologies or areas that we fund in the interest of time, but we continue to play a significant role in those areas as well, such as fuels and emissions testing and health studies and other such areas. Over the next few slides, I'll go ahead and highlight some of the key projects that were initiated or completed. In the world of hydrogen and fuel cell, we initiated a Class 8 truck project that will use a fuel cell as a range extender. That effort's being done by a local company in Torrance, and others, GTI as well, and we're expecting to initiate some of those demonstrations in the next quarter to in about a year. We also had approval from the Tech Committee and Governing Board to work on some electric delivery vans, those that can incorporate small fuel cells to extend the range. Our earlier efforts, as Board Member Mitchell indicated earlier, we've worked on UPS, all-electric delivery vehicles. Those work great in urban environments, but they did not have the adequate range for regional delivery. So we're working on a project with our partners at UPS to have that range extended product. In the world of electric and hybrid, I mentioned the large-scale project with Air Resources Board. Again, we have BYD, Kenworth, Peterbilt, and Volvo, some of the largest market shareholders in large trucks, on board working on those projects. Of course, BYD will be doing all the production locally in Lancaster, and those we're looking forward to being deployed. And really, I want to emphasize that point again, with the executive staff and the board's vision, we were able to bring in the OEMs as prime contractors, and I think that's a great pathway to commercialization. I also want to talk about some of the engine systems projects. We previously have informed the committee on the success of the 8.9 liter near zero commercialized engine now. We continue to work on the 12 liter engine as well, which is currently under the alpha testing process. And we're working with OEMs on potential beta testing as well as some terminal operators. This engine is an optimally sized engine for drayage operations.
Great, did we lease a chair?
Oh, we did.
We lost a chair?
We lost the chair on our end, Supervisor Rutherford. We're trying to reconnect.
It's embarrassing at the technology committee.
We do the on-road.
Thanks for pointing that out.
I'm pretty sure it was on the city of LA.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
This is Greg, we lost the community technology event.
So I'll go ahead and continue on with the presentation.
Okay.
I can address Councilman Buscaino's questions if he has any specific ones. But as I said, we were working on certifying the 12 liter engine, and we expect that to be fully certified by the end of the year at that near zero or 0.02 gram per brake horsepower level. So we're excited about getting that fully commercialized and into refuse trucks and articulated buses and especially drayage trucks. As far as fueling projects go, I mentioned our efforts on local renewable natural gas production facilities, and CORE and CR&R are two such examples. And we continue to work on that effort along with our local utilities to have that combination of the near zero CNG engine combined with natural gas to, again, address the overall statewide goals, including criteria pollutants. We also previously presented an effort on this one-stop refueling station at Ontario CNG, where they have DC fast chargers, they have level 2 chargers, they have renewable diesel, they have natural gas, and we're also working on a hydrogen refueling project with them. They're pretty close to coming online as a full retail station.
So where is that in Ontario?
It's right by the airport on
Oh, right near the airport.
Mission and Vineyard. You've used it.
I haven't used it, but I know where it's at.
So on that particular one, the feedback we get is a lot of times when they refuel at night or they want to charge at night at DC fast charger, there's a fast food establishment, there's a typical store, and it's lit very well, and people really like that kind of a concept. So we're excited about that as well. We also continue to do some
Real
future.
quick, how's the, so when the hydrogen's completed there, how's that gonna help with getting out into Coachella Valley and maybe even further eastward?
So that is going to be one of the stations, and then there'll be a station also that is completed, it just is going through some final testing in Riverside.
Okay.
And then there's one at Sunline that we're actually trying to coordinate with Sunline to upgrade to a retail level.
So is that Palm Desert? The
That'll be
Sunline one? That's out
1,000 Palms, I believe, but it's just adjacent to the freeway.
there. Adjacent 10 out in.
1,000 Palms, I believe.
Where's Thousand Palms?
Oh, sorry. So Palm Desert is north of Palm Desert,
Northern Palm Desert.
just north of the 10 freeway.
Off 10,
Yes.
okay.
So we're continuing to work on that effort. We're also continuing to look at fuels and emission studies. We previously came before this committee and briefed them about a project we're starting to look at ozone and secondary organic aerosol from diesel fuels, both evaporation and tailpipe emissions. And we think those types of fuel studies will really help feed into a more robust emissions inventory for future planning purposes. We're continuing to, again, work on additional hydrogen stations as well. I'm just showing one example of the Burbank hydrogen station, which actually was initiated about 12 years ago as a part of this 5 cities hydrogen program. And we are getting into a contract to upgrade that particular station to a retail level station as well that the current light-duty fuel cell vehicle manufacturers want to see. And then as you heard earlier from Sengbum on the plug-in project, we also completed that initial project that Sengbum mentioned that was financed through some federal funding and doing these demonstrations of medium and heavy-duty plug-in hybrids. And we think the lessons learned from those are going to be very valuable towards enhancing that type of a platform. And I also want to go back to the 8.9 liter engine that was certified last year as well. We continue to play a role in doing some early demonstrations and integrations into refuse trucks and transit buses. And I'm really pleased to know that now all the transit authorities that are buying natural gas buses or repowers are procuring the .02 engine. So we're really excited about that as well. So this chart basically summarizes what we allocated in 2016 through board approval on the plan, and then it compares it to what draft allocation was from staff back in October of this last year. And the last chart in the purple really shows the feedback that we received, and one of the most notable items was feedback from this committee to increase funding level for the engine systems, have a greater effort on larger displacement engines, either natural gas and or liquid fuel diesel or renewable diesel engines that are key to long haul trucking. So we have proposed to increase that funding level and have it be equitable to the electric and hybrid level, because we've previously put more effort into that. And then the other key area that has a slight bump up from the previous year is, again, the focus on infrastructure and deploying natural gas and renewable natural gas especially. this chart just basically shows or depicts the same data in a pie chart, so it's a little bit easier to see. But again, we're trying to do an equitable distribution, which is in line with what our AQMP goals are, both for near-term 2023 goals and 2031 goals. And some of the zero-emission fuel cell and heavy-duty electric technology will even be further out, trying to come up with technology or start to establish that groundwork for the technology for the 70 ppb ozone level, which will be further out. So we're certainly looking at that long-term aspect as well.
Great.
This chart just again shows some of the key highlights. The yellows and the greens are the larger scale funding allocations. I'll just capture some of the changes that have occurred between the 2016 and 2017 plan. Again, I kind of hit on this at the very beginning as well, but just summarizes our previous efforts with committees and outside entities on this aspect, and the draft plan and the report before you today we think is ready for the board's approval on March 3rd, and we'll certainly be giving an overview and a presentation to the full board as well, and with a plan to submit the report to the legislature. So with that, staff recommends approval and adoption of the 2016 annual report. And
Thank you, Mr. Barry.
plan.
Any questions from members of the committee or comments or suggestions? Certainly, he's invited us to say,
Let me ask a question here about the change in allocation for engine systems. And just help me understand what the rationale was for doing that.
So one of the important aspects of that change was also the state and the federal effort on the national heavy-duty engine standard, or the state heavy-duty engine standard. As we know, KRB has already initiated the process.
To go to the low-NOx engine.
Precisely, or the new lower standard. And EPA has also given us very positive guidance on their interest in lowering that national standard as well. So we think that the engine studies feed in very well to that effort, the petition that we submitted and subsequent feedback that we've got.
Okay, great, thank
Yeah,
you.
we believe there's a need for higher displacement engines, so larger engines. More power. And so the Clean Fuels Program has historically been very agile in terms of adjusting to meet the needs. So we just won this big award on electric and hybrid drayage trucks. So we think we're covered there, and so now we really need to look at combustion and trying to get those most emissions out of those heavy-duty engines and work for liquid fuel.
any other questions or comments from members of the committee? I have one that's a little bit sort of broader in terms of the impacts of sort of clean fuel technology. I also sit on the Metro board for LA County, and we're going to, or converting a lot more to electric, transportation and transit. Did you hear?
Is Chairman Buscaino back on?
Joe,
I'm on the line.
Very good.
okay, we can't see you, but you can
Yeah.
chair again.
Go ahead, Supervisor.
Hi there. So it's Sheila. I'm just asking a question and took over while we couldn't hear you.
Go ahead, Sheila.
But the issue of batteries, as we utilize them more and more, encourage them more and more different kinds of transit and transportation use them either in a hybrid function or on their own. It raises the issue of the recycling of batteries, sort of the life of batteries, probably differentiate in terms of their size in our trains, for instance. When we can no longer use them, we can no longer use them. And so we asked for a report about using them for storage in other industries rather than, because recycling of batteries also has an air quality impact. And so it's kind of like, be careful what you ask for on the one hand, like MTBE, it was so great, it cleaned up the air and then it poisoned the water, oops. So I wonder if there has been, and perhaps Mr. Hoswell, any research about this, because I think more and more and more, it's going to be a growing issue for us in an industry that we're encouraging. maybe not tomorrow, but maybe, day after tomorrow.
So,
And I'll jump in, go ahead.
So a lot of the auto manufacturers are already actually looking at their secondary use. Daimler has an active program. Nissan Leaf batteries, once they get to a certain level for on-road use, are being looked at as a secondary energy storage for stationary uses as well. So a lot of those programs have already been initiated. UC Davis is also studying that particular aspect, so we're certainly tracking it very closely.
And I don't know whether that may be something that we're interested in down the line. Because there's sort of an overlap, like we want everybody to use nice, clean fuels, and then you worry about what happens when you use them. And we had, Joe was talking earlier about the generation of electricity, whether we need to concern ourselves because so much is connected. And this was one of particular interest to me. This is really a good report. I feel very positive about it and good about it going to the legislature. So over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Sheila. Any other questions, comments on item number 5 before us?
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to add that as we look at these
Yes.
energy supplies and we look at microgrids, we're working closely with a number of research institutions, academia, the energy commissions, and all these groups, because it really does have the power to revolutionize how we receive our power. And there are certain facilities in San Diego, UCI has a microgrid, and they're looking at a number of these applications that could reduce overall the big power demands and go to more of a distributed generation type approach.
Well, my friends who've installed solar in their homes call me every time they watch their meter going backwards. They're so, excited. Okay.
It works.
I get $1 bills a month from the electric.
Yes, $1, exactly right. Hey, pennies here, pennies there.
I just want to make a brief comment. So I was on this committee all last year. I'm very impressed with what projects we're working on, the advancement that's being made, and the specific areas that we're looking at. I think the comments that you made about recycling of batteries are very appropriate. We have to be looking at what potential unintended consequences might occur with what we're doing. But I just want to say how much I really appreciate the focus and the energy that goes into looking at these new technologies and the cooperation that you all have with industry out there that's developing them. And I've been really impressed. So something that I wasn't aware of prior to joining the board, and just very pleased to see. So with that, I think I'm probably the last comment here. I'll move the item.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. A roll call, please.
Supervisor Kuehl?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem McCallum?
Yes.
Councilmember Mitchell?
Aye.
Councilmember Robinson?
Aye.
Supervisor Rutherford?
Aye.
Councilmember Buscaino?
Aye.
Motion passes 6 ayes.
Thank you. So moving forward on other business, anyone like to offer any other business for us? Hearing none. Any general public comment in at CONT'D?
None here.
Okay. Here, how about Supervisor Rutherford? Do you have anyone from the public that would like to speak on a non-agendized item?
No, I don't.
And none here in Los Angeles City Hall. So with that, we are now adjourned. Safe travels.
Yeah.
Slow down, it's raining out there.
Really, it's raining out there.
And